Good morning and welcome to Sew Like a Pro. I ask my viewers all the time what it is that they might want to learn how to do, and somebody requested how to make a pair of pants off an existing pair of pants. In the industry, we call that a rub off. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a pair of pants and we're going to match them up at the inseam and the outseam. So you need to match those up perfectly straight on top of one another. I took this old pair of jeans to do this demonstration with. So I took mine and just put a crease down it. A crease down the front and the back. So after you have the crease, if you have a pair of pants you don't want a crease, you have to set it up the exact same way. But then you take a hand needle and thread and do a basting stitch up the entire front leg, up the entire back leg. And we need a grain line established on all the pattern pieces. So now I begin to measure my pants. First, we just want to take a long ruler and establish a grain line for our pattern. So I'm gonna line this up. Just draw a straight line, just the length of the paper. Now this paper, you can find it at the post office as shipping paper. So we have a lengthwise grain line. And now we're going to begin to measure the pattern pieces and set it up and establish where we want them to go. Alright, so from my grain line down my center, from my waist down, and remember later on you're going to go back and add all the seam allowance. This measures 41 inches. So that's the first one I'm going to do. Cross mark at the top, measure at the bottom, 41 inches. And we're going to square off all the lines. So I'm going to take my 2-inch clear plastic ruler. Unfortunately, I was off today. Well, but all my drafting tools at work. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to do this. But you definitely need this 2-inch clear plastic ruler, which have 16th of an inch increments measured on it. We need those. So my pants I lined up on my body to find out where my knee was. So from my waist down, 21 inches, my knee. I want to cross mark that. And then from my knee up to my crotch, I measured that 14 inches. And I want to cross mark that. And then I want to square off those. So squaring is finding an already established line and getting a true line off of that. So I want to cross my crotch and my knee and just a long line. And I want to label everything. So I want to label my waist, my crotch. Sound like, oh my goodness, crotch. My knee. And my ankle. Then on my pants, I want to measure all those areas. So my ankle, 8 inches. My knee, 7 3/4. My crotch, 10 inches. My waist, 8.5. All of these I need to divide by 2. Pull out your trusty calculator, calculate everything out. So everything is going to stay balanced off of my grain line. So half on one side, half on the other. So calculate it out. Whatever your measurements are. So we're going to end up joining all these points together. At my waist, 4 inches, to my center, which means 4.5 inches past there to get it 8.5 inches. Okay, now my outside leg, if you lay it out flat, you can see they're not the same at my center front, at my side seam. So I want to measure from my side seam to my ankle, 41.5. So I need to raise this up 1/2 inch. Now if I measure at my center front waist down my inseam, 40 inches. So I'm going to drop this one 1/2 inch. So then I'm going to use my pants to help shape my garment. So now I want to take the pants itself and line them up to join the shape or make the shape. So I'm going to just use the outside edge of the garment to join the lines together. So now I'm going to join from my knee to my crotch line, and you can see it's beginning to take on this exact shape. So drafting is especially a rub-off, is meticulous. It takes a lot of time, so just take your time so you can get your pants to fit you exactly like what you desire. What's so great about this is once you get this to fit perfect, carte blanche, you got a master pattern, you can draft any pants off of this. That's why it's imperative. Just take your time. It might take one day to get everything all marked off the grain lines and set up, and the next day you might start drafting the next day. Or whenever you get the time, you might start adding all the seam allowances. But it's worth it. Especially if you're hard to fit. Like myself, I have long legs and a small waist and, you know, a little hip, you know, so I need to make my own pants. Even when I buy jeans, I have to adjust the waist. One of those in-between sizes. Like most of us, not just a perfect size. So I took the one leg and I stuck it down in the other leg so I could shape off exactly my crotch area. So I'm going to match this up and line it up in my center front so I can get that exact curve shape. That's important because when you get your pants to fit you perfect, oh my goodness, you know, comfort. You need that area to be comfortable. So I'm going to trace this off. Now begin to join all the pieces together, join all the lines together. And since I don't have my drafting tool, just take your time and connect all the dots. Follow the exact curve shape. You might use your little curve, something you have around the house to help blend something in that you can't get so quite perfect. So I'm going to take my time and join all these lines together. And I'm just taking this tool and tilting it a little bit as I go along to join all the lines together. Nothing like a good fitting pair of pants. Priceless. So if I look at my pants and see that my legs, see these pants have a slight flare shade up at the bottom. So stand back and look at it and make sure everything looks right and like it's lined up right. And you're going to have to do the exact same thing with the back pants. And then we're going to establish some notches at the side seam. We're going to check and make sure like your knee is falling at the exact same place. from here up on the front and back leg. So after you draft your back leg, you just want to check and make sure everything is lined up the same on the front and the back leg. Front and back leg. Crouch from the knee up to the crouch. From the knee up to the side seam. So just don't assume that it's all going to just blend and come out perfect. Go back and check it, and sometimes you have to add to one and take from the other. So if one come out a lot longer than the other, just don't cut one off. Go back and rebalance them. Okay, now I have my front pants. Almost. I want to join these two together at the waist. And I probably would find the center and draw it with a slight little curve shape in it. Because it should be squared at the front. It won't come down to a straight point. That's just not the way the body is made. Alright, and then I would join these back with a slight little curve shape. Now I want to get my pocket. We got a minute. Let's make that happen. So from my center to my pocket is 4 1/4. So I measure from my center to 4 1/4. And then you remember my pocket on the inside at my side seam. Let's see what this is. Set up at 5 1/2. And then the other one is 6 inches. So this down 6 inches. Remember, we have to square. 6 inches down, and the side came down to 5. So then that has a little slight curve in it. So if I square it over, then I can go back and blend this little curve shape in it. Get my pocket. Now don't forget, you have to add thin. I want to label my grain line. And you have to label your grain line on all your pattern pieces. So this, I'm going to line up with my grain line and establish the grain line on my pocket. This is my inside pocket, which I have to extract and take out. And then I want to finish shaping outside of my pocket. Then this came down, what is that, 1 1/2 inches. And then I'm going to square that. And then use my tool. I think we should keep it exactly at 1 1/2 inches. So I won't square it. I'm going to follow this curve shape to shape off my pocket. And use this to get that little slight little curve. And then join those together. And that curve is too hard. So you may have to play with your lines a little bit to get the exact shape that you want. And that's where your rulers would come in. Alright, which mine are at work. Alright, so here's our pocket. Now we need to add seam allowance. On my ruler, I'm going to measure down 1/2 inch and start to mark all my seam allowances. So whatever you want to use. So I'll go around the entire pants and get my seam allowance. Take your time, it's worth it. So I'll do that, and I'm going to add on these pants 1 inch hem, because it's like a 1/2 inch roll hem on the bottom of my jean. So we'd have to extract the pocket, take a piece of paper and cut it out, slide it underneath there, and just put some push pins in there and make some holes all the way around, and you'll get the shape of your pocket. Let's see. So you know that this part you would measure. You'd add seam allowance to it. Whatever you like. You could do a 1/4 inch, you could do a 1/2 inch, whatever your desire is. But you see that this would be the shape of our pants once we add seam allowance to the top of it, and we will cut that out. But in order for me to get my pocket, I have this strap. And I have my grain line on it already. So let's just take a piece of paper to get us a pocket. If I put this underneath and I want to strike my pocket, sometimes we have, they had this serious spike tracing wheel that you can use, but since we don't have that, let's just pin it. So don't nothing move. And if I took a straight pin and just kept punching a bunch of holes in it, and then we have to add seam allowance to the entire thing. Let's see how far this pocket came over to the front also. So I'm just outline it. Make sure you always get those corners and follow the curve shape. Whatever curves, whatever shape. Let's see from here. Oh, it's only about 1 inch. Ouch! So let's trace it all the way to that 1 inch. And then we take that out. And I'm sure you can't see the pinholes, but I can. And then I'm going to trace off my pocket. All right, we are about to make a pocket happen. And don't forget to mark the grain line. Very important. We want everything to hang correctly. So there we go, the one part of your pocket. And then, of course, you're going to have to get the other part of your pocket. So you're going to have to trace off every single piece if that's what you want. The parts that you don't want, you don't have to trace. But this is how we make a rub-off. So here's the pattern with all the pieces, all the grain lines marked. And this is just the beginning because this is just the front leg. Label it grain line. How many you need to cut? Cut 2. Make sure you notch everything and label everything and check everything. So now we sew like a pro, and now we're going to draft like a pro. So any suggestions, let me know, and let me know how your pants turn out. May God bless all of your drafting projects.